But you know what MAGA is not upset about is the confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard, which I truly cannot believe is on the precipice of happening, because Tulsi Gabbard is an Assad apologist and truly someone who has no business leading our intelligence. But here is that news. The Senate Intelligence Committee on Tuesday approved Tulsi Gabbard's nomination to become the next director of national intelligence, setting the stage for a floor vote for one of President Trump's most contentious cabinet choices. The vote was 9-8 and along party lines. It's just such a big deal that we lost the Senate. Imagine if we had kept the Senate somehow. Just imagine. Imagine. While some Republicans harbor doubts about Ms. Gabbard, she won over the party members on the committee who were wavering, including Senator Susan Collins of Maine, who had voted against Pete Hegseth to serve as defense secretary, and Senator Todd Young of Indiana had also asked tough questions in the confirmations hearing, but announced his support for Ms. Gabbard in a social media post. And here is one insight as to what happened with Mr. Young. He said, I said to President Trump, how important is this to you, Mr. President? He said it's important, but he said, you know what, Todd, we're going to work together on all kinds of things to make America great again. And I told him I need reassurances, and those were delivered. That is a cute story. Here's what really happened. Elon Musk is waging war against Republicans. Anyone who stands in the way of Donald Trump and his insane agenda and his insane cabinet is being faced with a potential primary. The following week, the billionaire has responded to a report that he might fund challengers to GOP House members who don't support Trump's nominees. Quote, how else? There is no other way, Musk wrote on X, which he rebranded after purchasing Twitter, and moving to boost conservatives' voices, including his own. Musk has said he hopes to keep America PAC funded and operating. Beyond that, he has used X's megaphone to suggest that he is at least open to challenging less exuberant Trump supporters in Congress. Quote, this is not a joke. The funding is already being put together. Donors are calling like crazy. Primaries are going to be launched, Kirk said on his podcast, singling out Senators Joni Ernst of Iowa, Jim Risch of Idaho, Mike Rounds of South Dakota, and Tom Tillis of North Carolina as potential targets. All 4 Republican senators' seats are up in 2026. And you know what's so interesting about those names is that Joni Ernst and Tom Tillis were 2 senators who were very vocal against the nominations of some of these cabinet members, but then absolutely turned around. And this is one of the reasons why, because Donald Trump and Elon Musk are threatening to primary anyone who actually has a voice and stands up for a reason, because none of these people have any business being confirmed. They are lackeys. They are there to do Trump's bidding. We're all less safe with them in office. And to quote this GOP former communications director, instead of using his influence to twist GOP arms, when you have majorities in both houses, he could start going after Democrats who vote against Trump's agenda in states where the election was a referendum for Trump. Otherwise, if you pressure Republicans with a primary, you could end up with a Republican who can't win and then a Democrat in that seat. Well, we could hope that's what's happening, but I have doubts on that. Tulsi Gabbard's nomination is looking like it's going to happen, but here is Senator Susan Collins, who won't get primaried, I guess, for now. I mean, you have to toe the line for so long, so who knows how long this will last, but here she is announcing that she's going to be voting for Tulsi Gabbard.
After extensive consideration, conversations with her in my office, attending the hearing, questioning her there, and listening to her in the closed session, I decided to vote that I will vote for her. I believe she's committed to strengthening our national security.
Can we just now completely move past the idea that Susan Collins is a moderate? Because if not for Susan Collins, we might still have Roe v. Wade. If not for Susan Collins, we could potentially have stopped these nominations. So Susan Collins is not a moderate. Susan Collins is MAGA in moderate clothing. That's as much as I can say about that. And I do hope that Maine wakes up, because we have to do everything we can to get folks like this out of office. She is not helping anyone other than President Donald Trump. And I have crazy insight as to how this change happened. Yes, they are all worried about being primaried and the richest man in the world using his truly endless treasure chest of money to go after them. But there's also the fact that Tom Cotton with, you're not going to believe this, Tom Cotton with Senator Kyrsten Sinema, who used to be a Democrat and is now an independent, and thank God is no longer in the Senate, helped. Senate Intel Chair Tom Cotton found a surprise ally in former Senator Kyrsten Sinema to help resuscitate Tulsi Gabbard's nomination. The former Democratic senator approached Cotton and was deployed to help sway Senators Todd Young and Susan Collins into yes votes. So thank you, Kyrsten Sinema, for doing the bidding of MAGA yet again. But there is at least one maybe silver lining around this, is that she still has to pass the Senate vote. And my hope is that the folks who need to vote for this will not confirm her. As we saw, Mitch McConnell actually found that he has, I don't know, like he has his own brain. On that last vote with Pete Hegseth, he shockingly didn't vote for him. I do wonder if that was choreographed, like if they all knew that Mitch McConnell was going to do that, or if it was a surprise. But here are your marching orders, is that we do have some folks in the Republican Senate who could potentially stop this nomination from happening. GOP Senator John Curtis of Utah, Mitch McConnell, and Lisa Murkowski could all be no's. So if you can and are willing, please give them a call and pressure them, because pressure does work. Phone calls are better than tweets. Most senators, I don't think Mitch McConnell's checking his notifications. Perhaps Lisa Murkowski is, but I still found that to be doubtful. So if you want to do something about this, what you can do is call your senators and let them know that you are against these nominations. And it could be that we could stop one or two through a couple of Republicans saying no. It sounds insane, because one thing we've learned from Trump 2.0 is that Republicans are completely terrified and unwilling to go against Trump. And Trump is really acting like a king and less than like a president. But they still have to answer to the people. And the fact that Matt Gaetz didn't make it through, didn't even get to a confirmation hearing, shows to me that public pressure still can work. So if you are feeling up to it, give them a call, because it could be that these calls are what protect us from insane people like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. from getting through these votes.
Ever walk into a store and have absolutely no idea what wine to get? It happens to me every single time, because I don't know anything about wine, which is why I love our sponsor, Naked Wines. Naked Wines is a subscription service that just connects you directly to the world's finest independent winemakers, so you can get award-winning wine delivered straight to your door. With my code PACMAN, you can get 6 bottles for just $39.99. My girlfriend likes white wine. I know I'm more of a red wine guy, even if I'm generally clueless. So we usually get the split box from Naked Wines, which has both. Naked Wines believes that great wine is an experience, and they're all about helping you connect with your friends, family, community over a shared bottle of wine. You get background information on each bottle. So when I have friends over, I can actually tell everybody where the wine came from and sort of sound like I know a little bit of something. And you can pause or cancel at any time. Head to nakedwines.com/Pacman and put in my code PACMAN for both the code and the password for 6 bottles of wine for just $39.99 with shipping included. The link is in the description.